Hey Toy fans, D21 Beast Rob here, taking a break from my review of Marvel Legends Morpheus to let you know what's coming up on my channel and to share my thoughts on a few things that have come out in the realm of comic book movie news. So the first thing I want to mention is I finally found some Micro Masters 2-packs, so I'm kind of excited to check those out. I've got the Loki and Hulk 2-pack, I've also got the Spider-Man and Rhino 2-pack. So there's 4 of them available. There's also Red Skull and Captain America, or Iron Skull rather, and Captain America. And there's also Iron Man and Ultron. So wasn't so big on those ones, but I picked up these two and I look forward to checking them out. But also recently I finally found the Marvel Legends Gwen Stacy figure, or Spider-Gwen figure. And shame on you Hasbro for making that one per case. You knew that was going to be a hot figure. So glad I finally have that in my hands. Shockingly, I still don't have a Venom. Even though he's 2 per case, he's still almost as hard to find as Gwen Stacy. So still looking for that figure. And then I finally picked up the T2 Ultimate Edition Sarah Connor figure, so I look forward to checking that out as well, and I'll probably end up getting the T1000 figure somewhere down the road. So, but that's what I've got coming up. Like I said, Micro Masters next, and we'll probably see Spider-Gwen or Sarah next after that. I'm not really sure who. But let's talk about some movie news. The biggest bomb, I guess you could say, that's dropped just today is that J.K. Simmons probably isn't coming back to the Spider-Man movies anytime in the near future, if ever. It came out that he is now going to be Commissioner Gordon in the Justice League DC Cinematic Universe, which I've got to say I'm really depressed by. I mean, great for Simmons there to get a brand new role in another franchise. You know, it's great that he's got work he can look forward to, but as a fan of the Spider-Man films, I think all of us were really hoping that J.K. Simmons would come back and play Jonah one more time. I think the Amazing Spider-Man films from Mark Webb were definitely building up to that, especially if you see the text message sequence with Peter and Jonah in Amazing Spider-Man 2. Just the attitude that came through in that simple text that said, what was it, no or wrong, something along those lines. And he's been voicing Jonah in Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, the animated series, and he's even done some video game work in Disney Infinity and such. So it's kind of disappointing that J.K. Simmons is more or less officially out of Marvel movies for the time being. I'm curious to see, though, he's going to be playing Commissioner Gordon. He's not really the person I would pick to play Commissioner Gordon. You know, I thought Bryan Cranston might have been great, or somebody along those lines. So I'm sure JK will do great. He's a really good character actor, but just disappointing that he's not coming back to the Spider-Man films. And I'm sure a lot of you guys feel that way. But now I guess, who are we going to get for Jonah now? It'd be kind of fun, if not a bit maybe too old, to see Ed Asner reprising the role. He did the voice on the 90s Spider-Man animated series, which is definitely a nod to the Mary Tyler Moore Show. But I don't know who you'd pick to play Jonah at this point. So big news there. The other thing coming out is that Sony is wanting to make a Venom movie, which A, Venom movie sounds great, B, it sounds like it's a little too early for that, but C, the real factor here is, that, or the real problem here in my opinion, is that they want to make Venom a standalone R-rated film. It's not officially R-rated, but it's strongly believed that it would be, and this is going to be Sony's response to Deadpool and trying to come up with their own cool anti-hero R-rated character. While I like the idea that Sony might have some sort of character that, you know, is their R-rated anti-hero, oh, and I should mention too, it's assumed, I believe at this point, not official, that Venom would not be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, therefore would not be tied to Spider-Man, which doesn't make a lot of sense with the Venom character because his origin is so tied to Spider-Man as a character, both with Peter getting the black suit, and you guys know the history of Venom, so it's really weird that he wouldn't be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe if they went this route. But I'm kind of feeling like Sony had possibly the right idea, but just kind of missed the mark a bit. I like Venom. I want to see him with Spider-Man. I think that's where he works best, and I think that would be best for Venom to show up with a Spider-Man film, and then they can go ahead and gloss over the Eddie Brock years, which, you know, a lot of Marvel stuff seems to be doing at this point, and just jump right into Flash Thompson. Doing that for the Marvel Cinematic Universe for future Spider-Man films, I think is the best way to go. If Sony wants to kind of ape Fox and come up with their own R-rated character, I would say go with Carnage. Honestly, Carnage is a character that would work in PG-13, but you could really do a lot with him in an R-rated setting. And I don't think Carnage needs to be the anti-hero. I think Carnage would be a fantastic idea for an R-rated psychological horror type movie. I mean, think just really scary, whether they be jump scares or just real visceral scares. You've got a psychopath that enjoys hurting people. And I think that would be a really cool, really dark take on the character that I would love to see Sony do. And it's something we haven't seen before, really, from any comic book movie that I can think of off the top of my head. But I want a film that really makes me cringe and get uncomfortable when I see a character like Carnage who enjoys just inflicting pain on people. Again, it's going to be really, really dark, but I think it would also be pretty daring. It'd be a movie that would have to have a really small budget like the Deadpool movie that just came out did. And I think it'd be something really fun to see. And coming into Carnage, you've got to get the right actor to play him, right? So I don't know if any of you guys watched Gotham. While overall I think Gotham is not really the best comic book TV show on the air, especially with the way that they've handled season 2 thus far. I mean, they've got some good points, but one of the best moments for me personally with Gotham was when actor Cameron Monaghan came on and played Jerome. Jerome was a really cool sort of, he was a, I don't want to spoil too much about the show, but you guys should definitely track down these episodes. But he was a character who was involved in a murder mystery in season 1, and they brought him back in season 2, and he was actually, at least at one point, kind of suggested to be Gotham's version of the Joker. And this kid plays just psychotic really, really well. I totally bought into him as Joker. I was really disappointed when they wrote his character out of the show, and that led to some other major storytelling issues that Gotham has right now. But since he's not going to be doing that series anymore, I say bring him on, let him be Cletus Cassidy. I mean, if you look at a picture of this guy, he's got the look. He's got the red hair. He can already play maniacal. I think he'd be a really awesome Carnage to see on screen. So, for what it's worth, I hope Sony refocuses their symbiote spin-off film. I think Venom is too important to Spider-Man's history to place him in his own separate cinematic universe apart from Spider-Man. I want to see Venom and Spider-Man together. They're the yin and the yang. It's just a classic rivalry between the two. And while Carnage is certainly important to Venom and Spider-Man in his own way, I also think he's a character that you could easily spin off and keep completely separate from everything, and we wouldn't be missing out on team-ups or story beats that the Marvel Cinematic Universe could do. So Carnage is just that dark of a character. So that's kind of how I feel about that. Let me know what you guys think. Are you looking forward to the Venom film? Honestly, at this point, I'm not. And even Deadpool creator Rob Liefeld says that I'm forgetting the guy's name now, but the man at Sony who's kind of spearheading this spin-off film is a man who for years was keeping the Deadpool movie down. It's really disappointing to me that this is such a reactionary move from Sony. I feel like they need to just kind of stop and think about what they're doing, but definitely Carnage is what's getting my vote. But let me know what you guys think. Is there another Spider-Man character that you think would be better for his own cinematic universe? I mean, we've got all sorts of characters out there. They could do something with Morbius, frankly, if they wanted to make, you know, another vampire movie. I know that fad's kind of fading now, but it's something you could definitely do, and I don't know that Morbius is so tied to the Spider-Man backstory that you couldn't just have him be his own thing, although ultimately I think a Morbius and Blade film would be really cool, but I don't even know how Marvel and Sony would agree to something like that, and I'm not even sure how, if ever, we're going to see Blade again anytime in the near future. Seems like he might show up on a Netflix series before he shows up in the cinematic universe, but now I'm just spitballing, so let me know, guys. What do you think would be a really cool R-rated character? But definitely Carnage. That's my vote. That's what I want to see Sony do. Lastly, and sticking on the Sony topic, man, this studio's had some interesting things going on in the last week. The trailer for the new Ghostbusters film came out, and I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan. And I've got to say, I don't hate the trailer. It certainly plays a bit more comedic than I think the original Ghostbusters film did. One thing I like about the original Ghostbusters film, and I've seen it so many times, but I watched it again recently when I was doing my Louis Tully Diamond Select review. The Ghostbusters film, I think, is really successful because it takes three seemingly ordinary guys with open minds and puts them in unusual situations. And they react while comedic, they react very naturally to what's going on. I mean, no part of Ghostbusters do I ever think is being done strictly for slapstick or strictly for the sake of getting a joke. I think it's just the intelligent, witty responses from these guys in the right moment that make that team work and seem so believable and, quite frankly, seem so, I don't know, makes the movie such a perfect and enjoyable film as it is. Even with the addition of Winston, he's very much like the normal character, but he's got a few cracks of his own throughout the movie. But they're just a team of characters that gel really well without seeming cartoonish or unbelievable. And the new trailer for the new Ghostbusters film came out, and there's been some negative attitudes, I guess, or negative feelings directed towards the trailer. I'm still seeing a lot of comments that really disappoint me about the fact that they never should have gone with 4 women. This is completely terrible. Whoever would do this. And my personal problem with the film so far is not that it's a cast of all females. I mean, the original movie was all males for what that's worth. My problem, I guess, with the trailer at this point is that it does seem like it's steeping a little bit slapsticky. I'm hoping that that scene where Leslie Jones is slapping around Melissa McCarthy is a one-off scene, but even if it is, we didn't really have a scene like that in the first Ghostbusters, the original Ghostbusters movie, so it seems to me at least a little out of place in the new one. I'm keeping my mind open to this new movie. I really want to like it because I like Ghostbusters so much. Also, we see a lot of ghosts in the film, and I think people are kind of saying, I've seen different reviews from whether it be Screen Junkies, whether it be people at IGN, people complaining that the new ghost effects look too cartoony. And while I do see where they're coming from, the ghost in the original films were also kind of cartoony as well. And they did a hybrid of having practical ghost effects and then having what were clearly puppets that were kind of superimposed on the screen after having some filters and visual effects added to them. I feel like what the ghosts that we're seeing so far in the new trailer are very much in line with what we got in the original film, just possibly with updated graphics. So I'm not as hateful about those things. I did think it was a little weird having the Exorcist moment in the trailer where the gray ghost or the librarian seems to vomit slime all over Kristen Wiig's character. But, you know, I still got a slight chuckle out of that. I'm not one for bathroom humor, but I didn't think it was as gross as some people are playing it off to be, so I don't know, I'm just keeping my mind open, but I am really disappointed by the reaction that this trailer is getting, and mostly the comments I'm seeing. If you go to the YouTube page for this Ghostbusters trailer, it's just insane the level of negative comments that are actually, you know, posting along with this video. It's got way more likes than, or dislikes rather, than likes that it has at this point. And I definitely think it's a polarizing idea to make a new Ghostbusters trailer, but I also feel like the internet community is maybe overreacting just a tad to everything that they're seeing. Also, the trailer kind of starts off, and we've known for months now that the new Ghostbuster film is intended to be a complete reboot, which I've got to say, to me, I'm seeing nothing yet at this point that justifies the need for a reboot. It's been 30 years since the first one. I don't see why we couldn't have had a new film where Ghostbusters, or the ghosts have re-emerged and now there's a need for new Ghostbusters to show up. Even if we didn't get the original actors back, you could have a new set of ladies that show up and say, hey, there was a team to take care of this before, let's answer the call and let's take care of it ourselves. And even if they look at schematics for the old Ghostbuster equipment and build new stuff and kind of try to go out and take care of things on their own, I don't know that that hurts the first film, and I don't think it would do anything but help the newest film, the reboot, feel more connected to the originals and feel like a larger part of a Ghostbusters cinematic universe. So, not a fan of the reboot aspect yet, but when you look at that trailer, it starts and it shows you the Hook and Ladder 8 building. I believe it's a modern shot of it, where Ghostbusters, the firehouse, was in the first two films. And it just kind of gives illusion to somewhat being connected to the original movie, which I think is very misleading as a marketing tactic. I think a lot of people, unless future trailers kind of disprove this, I think a lot of people right now are looking at the trailer and thinking, oh, this is Ghostbusters 3, they're just not calling it Ghostbusters 3. And I just think it was a bit of a misstep or a mess up. Hopefully, moving forward, we don't get as much of that. I mean, at this point, with the movie as polarizing as it is, I think it's best to maybe have it be its own standalone thing. But if they're going to start the advertising for the new Ghostbusters movie by giving such strong allusions to the original, then I have to hope that maybe it's a big secret this whole time that this is a continuation of the original films. Who knows, though? We've got more to come. You know, I could armchair criticize the trailer all day long and say what I want to see, but personally, let's just keep our minds open, I guess, is what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm making a lot of sense there, but I am really disappointed to see such a negative reaction from the internet to this trailer, and from a lot of people just purely hateful comments that seem to be directed at either the slapstick nature, which is okay, that's a fair criticism, or the fact that it's all females. That's what's really bothering me so far about a lot of the criticism I'm seeing. So, I don't know, guys. Without starting, you know, a hateful comment thread in my own video, what do you guys think? Do you think it should have been a continuation? Are you supportive of a reboot? I do feel like reboots are getting a bit heavy now, or there's a bit too many of them in Hollywood these days. We're even seeing, again, a Sony topic, we're even seeing that 21 Jump Street may be crossing over with the Men in Black, and the whole thing is they're saying, oh, we're trying to soft reboot the Men in Black franchise by adding, you know, having it show up in the 21 Jump Street films. And again, Men in Black, who cares if you can't get Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones back? Why does that franchise need to be rebooted? It's been, what, 6 years now since the last one? Maybe somewhere around there? Why can't we just have a 21 Jump Street Men in Black crossover and just have new agents be the representatives for the Men in Black franchise? You know, again, we don't need Will Smith, we don't need Tommy Lee Jones. You can say that Agent K existed, or you could or you couldn't, but there's nothing about that franchise that's so broken that we can't just continue the mythology. And I don't know, I guess in film I'm more of a mythology guy. Reboots are fine when they make sense. I wasn't a fan of The Amazing Spider-Man being a reboot to the Sam Raimi trilogy. I felt like back when Sam Raimi was doing it, if you read Wizard Magazine, if you read things online, Avi Arad and people at Sony were saying the whole time, yeah, we've got Tobey Maguire now, but this is going to be a new James Bond of superheroes, and we're just going to recast Spider-Man and keep it going. Even Kevin Feige has said that with Marvel at this point, but with regard to Robert Downey Jr., and they seem afraid to pull the trigger on that. So, but it's just fine. Robert Downey Jr. is fine in the role, but let's just build a universe. If you've got a misstep, don't let that be the reason to just start over completely. I don't think filmgoers want that anymore. I think we want to just give a movie another chance. I mean, if you look at all 23 or 24 Bond films that there are now, there's definitely a few that aren't as good as other ones. Unfortunately, my favorite Bond, Pierce Brosnan, has quite a few that aren't very good. But you just kind of accept that the films are going to keep going, and there's the chance for things to be better. You think of Mission Impossible reset after the second film, which a lot of people say is the weakest one in the film franchise now. We would have never gotten Ghost Protocol or Rogue Nation. They just keep bringing the movies coming. You've got a chance to redo it. As long as you put the right effort and care into the characters, I think people are going to accept that things are rebooting. So, I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Wish Ghostbusters would have been a continuation. I'm upset with the way that people are kind of reacting to the trailer for the wrong reasons. If you've got a fair critique of the trailer, that's fine, but dare I say the sexist comments are really just kind of disappointing at this point. So I've kind of ranted a little bit, I guess, here, but that's how I feel about some movie news coming out. Strangely, a lot of it seems to be related to Sony. But let me know, guys, what do you think about Ghostbusters, about J.K. Simmons not being Jonah, about Cameron Monaghan playing Cletus Cassidy, Carnage, in a Carnage spin-off film? Personally, the idea just really excites me, and I kind of hope it happens, even though it probably won't. Well, that's my thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for listening to me rant on for a little bit. It's been fun to check in with you guys. Be on the lookout for the Micro Mashers, for Spider-Gwen, for Sarah Connor coming up. Let me know what your thoughts on all the topics I discussed in this video are, and I'll see you guys next time.